planet Yutani 7 rotated slowly in the eternal darkness of space, its barren surface cracked and dry, with jagged cliffs cutting across the horizon like broken teeth. The atmosphere was breathable, but barely. Acid storms swept through its desolate valleys with no warning. Yet despite its hostile terrain, the planet held a dark secret. Beneath the scorched soil, an ancient hive lay dormant, its black, skeletal structure pulsing with a strange, faint warmth. Life, or something like it, stirred within. High above, a solitary spacecraft descended, cloaked in a field that rendered it nearly invisible to the naked eye. It was a predator-hunting vessel, sleek and menacing, its hull adorned with symbols of previous conquests, trophies carved in the blood of beasts and monsters across galaxies. Inside, the Yautja warrior prepared. Known among his kind as Katel, he was no ordinary hunter. He was elite, decorated in the rituals of 1,000 successful hunts, each a testimony to his precision and honor. But today's mission was not for glory. It was personal. Katel had tracked the xenomorph scourge across 3 planets, each time encountering greater resistance. The last hunt on LV-445 had cost him his younger brother, torn apart by the nightmare creatures while they slept. But the Hive Queen had fled, and Katel had followed. Now all signs pointed to Yutani 7. Here he would finish what had begun with blood and fire. The ship touched down silently, its ramp extending like the tongue of a serpent. Katel stepped onto the ground, the red sun casting shadows over his armored form. He activated his biohelmet, scanning the terrain. Faint traces of acid residue marked the dirt. Xenomorphs had passed here, but not recently. No, they were deeper, hidden in the heart of the hive. He moved swiftly and silently, his cloaking device humming faintly. With each step, he descended closer to the lair, the hive's pulse growing stronger. The darkness became thicker, suffocating, as he entered a series of underground tunnels. His thermal vision flickered with heat signatures. Most were faint, dormant, but one, small and fast, zipped past his visor. A facehugger. Katel raised his plasma caster, but the creature was gone. He turned, blade extended. The facehugger was unlike the others. It moved with purpose, intelligence, almost as if it knew what he was. He remembered the old stories passed down through predator elders, of one facehugger that had survived hundreds of encounters. An anomaly, a freak, or perhaps evolution. Deeper in the tunnels, the temperature rose. The walls were slick with resin, and the telltale shapes of dead hosts lined the chambers. Humans, aliens, even predators, all victims of the facehugger's reproductive cycle. Katel's grip tightened on his combi stick. He would not fall like them. Suddenly, from the shadows, the same facehugger launched at him. He dodged, spinning to slam it with his wrist blade. But the creature twisted mid-air, landing behind him. It was fast, unnaturally so. Katel turned, slashing, but the facehugger danced away. It hissed, an eerie sound for something without vocal cords. A challenge. This was no ordinary parasite. It had evolved beyond instinct. It had developed memory, learning, and worst of all, strategy. Katel activated his thermal scanner again. The facehugger was gone. No movement, no heat. He waited, listened. Then it came, behind him, a sudden surge. He caught it mid-air, slamming it to the ground. Acid hissed as his blade pierced its leg. It shrieked, curling back. He raised his other arm to fire his plasma caster. But in that moment, the facehugger did something unthinkable. Played dead. Katel paused, uncertain. His code forbade unnecessary kills. But this wasn't mercy, it was a trap. The facehugger sprang again, this time latching onto his mask. Alarms blared in his helmet as he tore it off, throwing both mask and parasite to the ground. The facehugger scrambled away, but not before its tail lashed across Catel's face, slicing the skin open. Blood dripped, but he didn't flinch. His vision blurred. He was vulnerable now, no helmet, no enhanced sight. But he still had the hunt. He stalked forward, deeper into the hive. The facehugger was alone now, no queen, no xenomorph warriors. But that didn't make it less dangerous. It had learned to survive by being smarter, faster, deadlier. They met again in a central chamber, where a glowing pit of resin and eggs bubbled like a cursed spring. The facehugger stood on top of one of the eggs. It had waited for him, not to kill but to infect, to use his strength to create something even more terrifying, a predator-xenomorph hybrid. The perfect killer. Catel understood. He would not let that happen. He stepped into the chamber slowly, placing his weapons aside. A gesture of honor. The facehugger tilted its head, as if recognizing the challenge. Then it attacked. The battle was a blur of speed and blood. Catel moved with the precision of a warrior, dodging, countering. The facehugger was agile, its long limbs flicking like whips, its tail striking like a snake. It lunged again, trying to wrap around his head, but Catel caught it midair, throwing it against the hive wall. The impact cracked the wall, revealing a vein of molten resin beneath. The heat seared the air. Catel charged, using his brute strength to crush the creature underfoot. But it wasn't enough. The facehugger's tail coiled around his leg, tripping him. They rolled, predator and parasite, a storm of limbs and snarls. Catel's wrist blades extended again, slashing downward. The facehugger's legs severed, acid blood splashing across his armor. Smoke rose, but he didn't stop. He pinned it down, staring into the thing's eyeless face. It writhed and hissed, tail lashing, but he held firm. With a roar, he drove the blade through its core. Convulsed once, twice, then lay still. Catel stood, panting, wounded, but victorious. The facehugger's body twitched, a final nerve spasm, then melted into the resin, hissing as it dissolved. But then the ground trembled. The queen had awakened. From the depths of the hive, she emerged, towering, screeching, black as oil and twice as vicious. Her scent filled the chamber. She had sensed the battle, sensed the loss, and she would avenge her creation. Catel, already drained, took up his weapons. He knew he had no chance in his condition, but honor demanded he fight. He fired his plasma caster, each blast hitting her armor but barely penetrating. She charged, tail sweeping. He dodged, barely, and countered with a net gun, trapping one of her limbs. She tore through it in seconds. She lunged. He rolled, slicing her neck. Black blood sprayed. She shrieked. Her tail slammed into his side, cracking ribs. He fell, coughing, bleeding. Then, from the shadows, movement. The dead facehugger twitched, moved. Not dead. Never dead. Catel turned in horror as it leapt. This time, not at him. At the queen. It latched onto her, digging in. She screamed, spinning wildly, trying to tear it off. But it held. Its tail wrapped tight. Then, in an explosion of gore, it injected something into her. Catel watched, stunned. The queen writhed. Something was wrong. Her limbs shook, convulsing. Her body contorted. The facehugger had not died. It had waited. It had evolved into something else, a parasite of parasites. The queen fell, spasming. Then silence. Catel stood, barely able to move. The hive was collapsing. The walls shook. Resin cracked. He had to escape. He limped through the tunnels, clutching his side, until he reached the surface. His ship stood where he left it, untouched. He climbed aboard, activating emergency medical protocols. As the doors sealed, he looked back one last time at the planet. It burned. The hive was imploding. He did not smile. There was no victory here, only survival. As the ship took off, he slumped into his seat, closing his eyes. But in the dark of the cargo bay, something stirred. A small, cocooned shape twitched, moved. The legacy of the battle was not over. Not yet.